Saki Gunaramita Vishake Lalita Saki Gunaramita Vishake Lalita Saki Gunaramita Vishake Lalita Saki Gunaramita Vishake Radhe Joyo Joyo Madhava Daite 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 Gokula Taruni Mandala Mohite Gokula Taruni Mandala Mohite Gokula Taruni Mandala Mohite Gokula Taruni Mandala Mohite Radhe Joyo Joyo Madhava Daite 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 Karunam Kuru Mai Karuna Bharite 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 Sanaka Sanatana Varnita Charite Sanaka Sanatana Varnita Charite Sanaka Sanatana Varnita Charite Sanaka Sanatana Varnita Charite Radhe Joyo
Hare Krishna. I warmly welcome all participants. For today's session, we are starting the 5th chapter entitled Karma Yoga, Action in Krishna Consciousness. So before we proceed, let us chant our Mangala Sharanam prayers for invoking auspiciousness on our session, so that all the participants should be able to advance in Krishna consciousness towards the ultimate goal of life. So please join me. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Gadamayam Dadati Swapadandikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuda Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavascha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamin Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesha Sunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधो दीनबंधो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कांत श्री राधा कांत नमोस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी श्री राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये नीलाचल निवासाय नित्याय परमात्मने बलभद्रा सुभद्राभ्यां श्री जगन्नाथाय ते नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंदा श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंदा हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा। So let us offer our praise to Lord Krishna and Arjun. Sarvopanishato gavo dogda gopalanandanaha partho vatsaha sudhir bhukta dugdam gita amrutam mahat. So by the mercy of Krishna and Arjuna, we are able to taste the extracted essence of all the scriptures, which is Bhagavad Gita. The Vedas and scriptures run into lakhs of shlokas, but Bhagavad Gita is just a crisp 700 shlokas, that too organized beautifully into 18 chapters We can go chapter by chapter and then get the complete knowledge of what Krishna wants to convey to us. And by the mercy of Srila Prabhupada, this has been presented with amazing purports, which makes it so easy for everyone to understand. So, just give me a minute, let me get my books up. So before we start the chapter, let us try to have a few quick questions. Firstly, after Arjuna surrenders to Krishna, what is the first knowledge that Krishna gives to Arjuna? Soon after he surrenders to Krishna, saying, I am your disciple, please guide me, please tell me what is in my best interest. So what is the knowledge that Krishna gives? Hare Krishna, please raise your hands. Or yes, Mohandas Prabhu.
Prabhu, yes, Lord Krishna said
Hmm.
that you are a Kshatriya, you do your duty, the duty of fighting.
But even before that, Krishna said something. Yes. Yes, Lakshmi Mataji. Lakshmi Mataji.
Yeah. Hare Krishna,
Yeah.
Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Lord says that devotional service is better than mental speculation.
No. Even before that, very first thing what Krishna wants to tell Arjuna, the very first piece of information, knowledge. Yes. Give a try. There is no harm.
Prabhuji,
Yes, Mataji.
Krishna
Lakshmi.
says, yes, Prabhuji. Krishna says that says to Arjuna that first understand that you are not the body, you are
Very
soul.
well. Thank you. That's what I was looking for. Because the rest of it can follow only after this part is established. You are not the body. You are not the Deha. You are the Dehi. So that's the very first information that Krishna gives. Okay. So can you name some of the characteristics of the soul that Krishna described? Hare Krishna. What are the characteristics of the soul? You can name any few.
Prabhuji,
Yes.
Dandavatana.
Yes, Prabhu Dandavatana.
Soul is eternal.
Yes.
It doesn't die. Only the body dies.
Yes. Then
Uh,
some more.
Uh,
Yes,
soul is ever active.
Yes, soul is ever active.
Transcendental, active.
Yes. Body is just dead always. It is the
Yes.
soul which is active. Yes. Then
Active.
some more. Some more. Anyone wants to add something more to this?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Is it that the soul cannot be cut or
Yes.
damaged by
Yes.
fire,
Yes.
or it
Water
cannot be
or
damaged
air.
by water,
Yes.
air,
Yes.
etc.
Yes.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Anything more?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. Yes, Prabhu.
The soul is like for a soul, the body is like a pair of old clothes.
Right.
It changes the clothes when it is worn out, but the soul remains the same.
Yes. Perfect. Anything more? Yes, all of you are right. Anything more?
Soul is immortal.
Immortal. Soul has no beginning and no end. It is neither born nor it dies. So soul has all the qualities of Krishna. Amazing, isn't it? Amazing. We talk about Krishna as God, so all these things we know about Krishna. But The same qualities the soul is also having. That's an amazing information that Krishna gives. He tells Arjuna, never was a time when I was not there or you were not there and all these kings were not there. Only thing you have forgotten, I am remembering everything. Why is that difference between Krishna and the souls? That Krishna remembers everything and we forget? Any reasons?
Prabhuji,
Yeah, sure.
Soul has limited area of activity.
Like?
And super soul Krishna is unlimited.
Yes.
Because of this limitedness.
Can you give a metaphor to explain this?
Like the ocean water.
Perfect.
Ocean is having the quality we have in a drop of.
Perfect. Thank you. So after giving this knowledge, then Krishna guides Arjuna what he should do with this knowledge. Can you remember anything? Because second chapter is a complete summary of Gita knowledge. So what does he say, Arjun? That, okay, now I have given you this information. What do you do with this information now? Any of these points you recollect? Once you got this Dehi knowledge, what do you do with this? Preliminary.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. Yes, Mataji, sure.
We work for Krishna, Prabhuji.
That comes with a deeper understanding of the connection of soul with Krishna. But at this point of time, we understand that we are soul, that's all.
We understand that the soul is eternal, Prabhuji.
Yes, so with this knowledge, what do we do? What Krishna is telling Arjuna to do?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, may I say?
Yes, Mataji.
We should do our duty without attachment to results.
Why?
So that we get free from the material knowledge.
And become free, then what do we become when we become free?
We come to realize ourselves and we move. Self-realization. Self-realization becomes more prominent.
Perfect.
And we come closer to Krishna, we move.
No, don't bring Krishna at this point. Don't bring Krishna. Even though it is very tempting, but don't bring Krishna yet.
Prabhuji, we get liberated from the birth of cycle of births and death.
Then death. After realizing.
Yes. So only this much knowledge that I am a spirit soul is liberating. That I am not this changing body. Dehinosmin yata dehe kaumaram yauvanam jara tata dehantara praptir dhiras tatrada muhyati. Krishna says, so even in this lifetime you are changing body so many times. But you are accepting every body as yours. But I was a little baby. That time I thought that baby is me. Then I became a boy. I thought that boy is me. Then I became a young man. See how many changes have happened. Our body has changed so many times. But we are still identifying with that very body at the present moment, whatever I am having. This identification with the body is our problem. So Krishna is teaching very correctly, as Mataji said, science of self-realization. How to separate the Dehi from the Deha. The Dehi is so tightly wedded to the body by attachment. How to get rid of that attachment? So that is what Krishna is telling. Then yes, perform your duty and all that. Why does Krishna tell you to perform your duty? To become free from the bodily concept. So this is what Gita is starting from the very beginning. How to separate the soul from this body. That is the Sankhya Yoga. Krishna is talking about Sankhya in the second chapter. Then of course he goes on to build about what is the connection. What does the soul do? What should the soul do? And what does the soul experience once it becomes free from the bodily concept? Matra sparshastu kaunteya sidoshna sukha dukkada agamapa anityaha tam tidikshashva bharata. So he's telling all these things are changing, but there is one unchanging thing. There is everything is changing around us, but one thing unchanging, that is the soul. So you hold on to the soul. And the constant flux, what you see around you, ignore it. Tolerate it, not just ignore, tolerate. Titikshasva. So like that amazing knowledge he gives. Then, once you have soul knowledge, then you attach the soul to Krishna. And even without having soul knowledge, you can still attach yourself to Krishna, and then you can become liberated. So this is the higher wisdom and the more easier process that Krishna is giving. When you go to Karma Yoga, then you go to Jnana Yoga. So now we have come to a chapter called Karma Yoga, action in Krishna consciousness. Karma Yoga, we said, do your duty, do without attachment, but don't be lazy also. Don't be attached to the fruits of your action. Don't think you are the doer of the action. Like that, many principles were given about Karma Yoga, Nishkamya Karma Yoga, then offering the fruits to Krishna. So that I don't demand to experience, like a Kripana. You don't become a Kripana. I want the fruits of my action. Rather, you become a Brahmana, broad-minded man, and offer the fruits to Krishna. So like that. So now Arjuna is going to ask more questions and Krishna is going to further clarify. Yes. So let us take up the 5th chapter. So it's all a ladder, Krishna is building up so beautifully. And thanks to Srila Prabhupada's purport, we get the sense of it right from the beginning. See, there are so many people who give lectures on the third chapter of Bhagavad Gita or the 4th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, and they give very incomplete lectures. Because Bhagavad Gita is not the 3rd chapter. Bhagavad Gita is not the 4th chapter. It is not the 5th chapter. It has 18 chapters and it is a continuous build-up. So how can somebody just give a lecture on Karma Yoga and say this is it, or Jnana Yoga say this is it? They think that chapter what they have mastered is everything about Bhagavad Gita. So that mistake we should not do. It is a continuous build-up. But Prabhupada's purports are so beautiful that wherever you open Bhagavad Gita, his purports will give you the complete picture. You cannot run away from the truth. Some people want to run away from the truth. They are afraid of truth or they are envious of the truth. They would like to avoid. But Prabhupada would not allow you to do that. So in that sense, just now I saw, whenever I ask questions, immediately the answer is coming, Krishna, Krishna, Krishna. I am so satisfied with the way devotees are shaping up in Krishna consciousness. You are all perfectly right. Everything is to do with Krishna only. We are all simply his part and parcel. So whatever understanding you are showing, that is actually perfect. But I am not allowing you to jump ahead. I want to hold you down and then gradually go up the ladder. Okay. So 5th chapter. We are going to do 15 shlokas today. But it is not going to be very difficult because Krishna is going to emphasize the same point only again and again. So let me read the first 5 shlokas and then we will discuss. Arjuna uvacha sanyasam karmanam Krishna punaryogam cha shamsasi yashreyeta yorekam tanme bruhi sunishchitam. Shri Bhagavan uvacha sanyasa karma yogascha nishreyasakara ubhau tayostu karma sanyasat karma yogo vishishyate. Nyayasa nitya sanyasi yona dveshti na kankshati nirdvandvo hi mahabaho sukham bandhat pramuchyate. Sankhya yogo pridagbalah pravadanti na panditaah ekam apyasthita samyag ubayor vindate phalam. Yat sankhya prapyate sthanam tadyogairapi gamyate ekam sankhyam cha yogam cha yapashyati sapashyati. So these first 5 shlokas let us discuss. So in the very first shloka, Arjuna is asking Krishna. Same question you see Krishna is asked by Arjuna again and again. Not because he is a dull person, but he is asking because we are all dull people. And we have to get complete clarity from the mouth of Krishna. That is why these questions are coming again and again. So Arjuna is asking, Krishna, you told me to renounce work, but again you are telling me to work. Why do you contradict yourself like this? One time you say, give up all work in complete knowledge. And then you are saying, but you better work. Why this contradiction? So please clearly tell me which is more beneficial. That I give up my duty and become a beggar, renounce everything, all my duties, all my work, or I should work without attachment. which is better for me. So work with devotion means devotion to Krishna, offer everything to Krishna, but still do my duties. So which is better? So Krishna answers, Arjun, both are good for liberation. Renunciation of work and work in devotion are both good for liberation. But he clarifies, out of the two, working in devotion is better. Both will give liberation, but working in devotion is better. He will explain further. So, jnana, I have put in bracket that I am a spirit soul. There is a jnana. There is a starting point of jnana, right? That I am a spirit soul. Alone is not sufficient. Somebody will say, oh, I have been told that I am not the body, I am a spirit soul. So, that's it. I will renounce all work. Yeah. Until now, I thought I am the body. So I was busy doing so many things to avoid pain, to gain pleasure, like that. But now you have told me I am not the body, I am spirit soul. Okay, I am renouncing all work. So Krishna is telling, no, Arjun, this jnana alone is insufficient. I am sure all of you will vouch for this. That by now all of us know we are not the body. We are the spirit soul. But is this knowledge alone sufficient for us to give up all work and renounce everything? No. So Krishna says, once you know that you are the spirit soul, then you have to start acting on the platform of the soul. Otherwise, no escape from material bondage. This is the injustice many teachers are doing right now. They teach Bhagavad Gita, Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga, and they ask people to do the impossible. First, you have to free the soul from the bodily consciousness. For that purpose, you have to act as the spirit soul. How do you know? We have no experience of the soul. Then how can we act as the soul? So we need guidance. We need guidance. Under proper guidance only, we have to practice this work in Krishna consciousness. Otherwise, no escape from material bondage. I can give you my own example. Before coming to ISKCON, I thought I was a great jnani. I had read so many books, mastered so many books, attended so many classes, and I thought I had a complete knowledge of everything. But then when it comes to practicals, I have no practical experience at all. When I came to ISKCON, I realized what was wrong with me. What was wrong was none of my teachers told me that this knowledge alone is not sufficient. You have to act with this knowledge. That information I got from ISKCON, and I became very happy. So, without working on that platform, no escape from material bondage. Such action which is done in Krishna consciousness is not work on material platform. What is this work done in Krishna consciousness? Offering the fruits of the work to Krishna. Saying, I am not the doer, I am not the enjoyer, I am not the controller also. I am simply an instrument of Krishna. And whatever work I do, the fruits will go to Krishna. In that mood, when you are working, you are not working on the material platform. Why this clarification is required? Because if you are working on material platform, you will get sin. And you have to experience the reactions. But when you are working in Krishna consciousness, you are not working on material platform. So there are no consequences for your work. So the jnanis are afraid of working. The so-called jnanis. They are afraid of working because they think work will create bondage. So they want to hold on to this knowledge that I am the spirit soul, and they want to try to avoid any kind of work, live their life like that, constantly reading the Vedanta Sutra. And they want to only do that. They don't want to do it because they feel if I work, I will become attached. So, but to work in Krishna consciousness is actually working on the liberated platform. If somebody is working in Krishna consciousness, that person is already liberated. So this is the beautiful information. So action in full knowledge. See, our knowledge is, I am the spirit soul. I am eternally the servant of Krishna. So my business is to serve Krishna. I am his part and parcel. My business is to serve the whole. So if I act with that knowledge, my real knowledge gets further and further strengthened. So strengthening knowledge means liberation. Yeah. At this point of time, theoretically, we know I am not the body, spirit, soul, but you act in that consciousness, in that knowledge. then you become actually liberated from the body. Even though you are in the body, you realize I am the soul. That is the science of self-realization. So mere renunciation of fruitive work without Krishna consciousness does not purify the heart. Simply somebody says, I am renouncing all work because work is binding. But he is not a Krishna conscious person. He is so much attached to his own body, but he's afraid of the reactions to work. So he renounces all work, thinking all work is fruitive work. But we know that all work is not fruitive work. If it is offered to Krishna, it is no longer fruitive work, because we are not trying to experience the fruits. We are not interested only. We are offering it to Krishna. Then you are purified. Your heart is purified. But simply saying, I will not work, renouncing work, that will not purify the heart. Because the heart is full of desires. The vasanas we have carried from previous lifetimes, that is clinging to the soul like a darkness. The ignorance is clinging. And that will not go until we work in Krishna consciousness. So what is Falgu Vairagya? Falgu Vairagya is, I will read out here. Prapanchikataya buddhya hari sambandhi vastunah mumukshubhi parityago vairagyam falgu kathyate. Rupa Goswami says in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu that a jnani, that means a dry philosopher, he thinks this whole material world is Maya. So all the objects of this material world, all the experiences of this material world, and all my senses and body, my mind, everything is Maya. And I have to reject them, renounce them. So he renounces everything. If he has got wealth, he renounces wealth. If he has got friends, relatives, power, position, name, fame, he renounces everything. He renounces home. And he thinks I have got Vairagya. But Rupa Goswami says there is Falgu Vairagya, because you are a spirit soul. Even the body does not belong to you. All your properties, your wealth, your relatives, your family, all your resources, none of them belong to you. Who are you to renounce all these things? As though they belong to you, but you are renouncing them. You have nothing to renounce. But actually, everything belongs to Krishna. Isavashyamidam sarvam yatkincha jagatyam jagat tena taktena bhanjita magrudha kasya svidhanam. This is Ishopanishad. Ishopanishad says, everything belongs to God. Isavashyam. Everything belongs to God. So how can you renounce? If you have something, you can renounce. You have nothing, what do you renounce? So what Krishna consciousness teaches you is, whatever is there with you, it can be used in the service of Krishna. If it cannot be used in the service of Krishna, reject it. But it can be used in Krishna's service. Supposing you have got a lot of money, you can build a beautiful temple, you can invite devotees, you can have wonderful festivals, you can distribute Krishna conscious books to the whole world, you can transform everybody's consciousness. That way, you can use everything in Krishna's service. If you are an intelligent person, use your intelligence. If you can physically work, you work for Krishna. If you have money, you donate it for Krishna. Whatever resources you have, use it for Krishna. That is true Vairagya. And this is Falgu Vairagya. So we have to be very careful about this Falgu Vairagya, false renunciation. Right? So what Rupa Goswami teaches is called Yukta Vairagya. Yukta Vairagya means you realize that everything belongs to Krishna, nothing belongs to me. That's it. Vairagya, done. Renunciation over. Nothing belongs to me. Everything is for Krishna. So I am going to use everything in Krishna's service. That is Vairagya. So what happens? The first person doing Falgu Vairagya, he will simply sit quiet, not doing anything. But the person in Yukta Vairagya is actively using everything in Krishna's service. You take the case of Hanuman, who completely surrendered to Lord Ram. After he dedicated his life totally in the service of Ram. To go to Lanka, to find Mother Sita, to bring news to Ram, then helping him to build the bridge, then carry him across, then fight with Ravan, destroy him, then go back to inform Bharat that Ram is coming. How many services Hanuman is doing without any expectation? Because he knows everything belongs to Lord Ram and he is serving in that mood. So this is the point we have to carry with us. So here you see Shivaji Maharaj. So he was a king, but at the same time, he was not attached to his position, his power, or his wealth. He only wanted to serve his guru, Ramdas, sage Ramdas. He guided him to protect Hinduism from the attack of Mughals, because they were destroying temples, they were destroying religion. So Shivaji took up that task. So on the one side, he was an emperor, but at the same time, he was completely detached. He was only operating as a servant of God. So this is a very good example of Yukta Vairagya. Okay. So further slokas. What is the nature of work in Krishna consciousness? What are the qualities of such work and what results we get from that? So these things we will see. So this is the translation of the third shloka. 1 and 2 we have already seen. So one who neither hates nor desires the fruits of his work is always renounced. So see the point. So here is a new definition of renunciation. What is renunciation of work? Not working. This is one definition. What the Jnanis give. Dry speculators. Not working is renunciation. But Krishna says no. You work, but you neither desire nor hate the fruits of your work. You work, you perform your duty, but you neither hate nor desire the fruits of your work. This is renunciation. So renunciation of the fruits, no hatred, no attachment, but you perform your work with complete dedication. So such a person becomes free from dualities. What are the dualities? Success, failure, profit, gain, happiness, misery. All this is neutral in all these situations. Such a person overcomes bondage. Bondage is bondage to the material body, bondage to the material senses, bondage to the material objects. He becomes free from that and gains liberation. This is liberation. If he can work as you are bound without hatred or attachment, you are already liberated. You become free from dualities. So in the fourth shloka, Krishna is telling very clearly, Sankhya Yoga and Karma Yoga, they are the same. Sankhya Yoga means Jnana Yoga. What we said just now. Jnana Yoga means I am not the body, I am a spirit soul. All the matter around me belongs to the external energy, Maya. All the objects around me are Maya. But I am not Maya. I am a spirit soul. So the entire world is matter, but I am spirit. So that is Sankhya Yoga. So Sankhya Yoga means distinguishing the soul from the rest of creation. Because our soul is the only spiritual object in this world. Everything else is matter. So we have to separate that. Like a rainwater that is fallen into the gutter. We are polluted, contaminated. But we have to free the soul from this contamination. So that is Sankhya Yoga. So by constantly analyzing with the help of scriptures and mental speculation, the Jnani comes to the understanding that there is soul distinct from matter. That is Sankhya Yoga. By deeply analyzing, by following strict brahmacharya, by reading the scriptures under guidance, by isolating yourself from the rest of the society, dedicating all your life for nididhyasana, for reading the scriptures, then you get the clear understanding that I am not the body. That is Sankhya. But yoga means uniting with God by work. That is Karma Yoga. So Krishna is telling in the fourth shloka, they are actually not different, Arjun. Only ignorant people think jnana and karma are different. You see? So Krishna is telling, simply performing mental speculation about the reality of everything, that side with the help of scriptures. And on the other side, working, offering the fruits to Krishna, they are the same. Sankhya and Karma Yoga, they are same. So Krishna is telling. So can you visualize this? So Krishna says only ignorant people think Jnani is different, Karma Yogi is different. But Krishna says they are one. So in a simple way, we can explain watering the root. That is, in Sankhya Yoga, you analyze the whole creation and then come to the conclusion, behind everything there is Brahman. The ultimate reality is Brahman, which is supporting, which is holding up the entire creation. So that is the root of creation. The root of creation is Brahman, the undifferentiated, the one whole, that is Brahman. That is ultimate reality, supreme absolute truth. That is the root. So in Sankhya Yoga, you try to arrive at the root of all creation. And after you arrive at the root, what you will do? You will serve the root, you will water the root. The whole creation is nourished with the help of watering the root. You are serving everybody by serving Krishna, who is the root of creation. So Sankhya Yoga leads you to the root. And in Karma Yoga, you have already started watering the root. In Sankhya Yoga, at some point of time, you come to know that Krishna is the root of everything. And then you start serving Krishna. In Karma Yoga, you straight away accept the guidance of the Guru and you start serving Krishna. So in Karma Yoga, you save so many prior steps. And we may not be qualified also for Jnana Yoga. You see, we may become distracted. We may go away. And until you serve Krishna in that mood, there is no guarantee of freedom. But in Karma Yoga, you straight away start serving Krishna and you are guaranteed freedom. So while Krishna says Sankhya Yoga and Karma Yoga are the same, but only when Sankhya Yoga leads you to Karma Yoga, you get the fruits. Otherwise, know what Krishna says? Bahunam janmanam ante jnana vanmam prapadyate vasudeva sarvamiti samahatma sudurlabha. So after thousands of births only, a jnani comes to realize that Krishna is everything. Whereas a bhakta straight away starts serving Krishna. So that is the main knowledge we gather. Similarly, in the 5th shloka, Krishna is reiterating this, those who can correctly see this truth, that Sankhya and Karma are non-different, they see things as they are. They are the only people who see things as they are. That means, by Jnana, what is the goal I am going to achieve? I am going to understand that Krishna is everything. When I start serving Krishna, I am actually serving in that mood only, that Krishna is the root of everything. So, within bracket, what I have written, that the soul being spirit, it's not matter, soul is spirit. So what it should do? It should engage in spiritual activity and not material work. What is the spiritual activity? Service to Krishna. Because Krishna is the supreme spirit. So the soul being a particle of spirit, it should serve the supreme spirit. So that is the correct understanding. So here you see King Ambarish and Durvasa Muni. Durvasa Muni thought King Ambarish is like an emperor only. No, he's a great king. So he must be enjoying sense gratification. He must be very much attached to his wealth, the property, name, fame and all. He thought he's just an ordinary materialistic man. But ultimately he realized that he is a Rajarishi. He's not attached to his to enjoying the fruits of his actions. He's not proud of being an emperor. He is seeing himself as a servant of the Lord. So Durvasa Muni finally surrenders to Ambarish Maharaj. Durvasa Muni is actually a great mystic yogi. He's a very powerful man. But ultimately, he realizes that he has miscalculated about Ambarish Maharaj, about his glories. Because Ambarish Maharaj is a karma yogi, as we are reading now. He's doing everything in the service of Krishna, offering all the fruits for Krishna only. Everything that is in his possession, he feels it as Krishna's property. So ultimately, Krishna revealed the glory of Ambarish Maharaj through Durvasa Muni. So it's an amazing pastime in which Durvasa Muni also played a part to bring out the glory of Ambarish Maharaj. So let us read from 6 to 10 and then we will continue. Sanyasastu mahabaho dukhamaptum mayogatah yoga yukto munir brahma nachirenadi gacchati yoga yukto vishuddhatma vijitatma jitendriyah sarvabhutatma bhutatma kurvan apina lipyate naiva kinchit karomiti yukto manyeta tatvavit pashyan shrinman sprishan jigran ashnan gachan swapan shrasan pralapan visrijan grihnan unmishan nimishan api indriyani indriyarteshu vartanta iti dharayan brahmanyadhaya karmani sangam tyaktva karotyah lipyate nasa papena padmapatram ivambhasa. So Krishna gives such beautiful metaphors to explain the concepts. So Krishna says, merely renouncing work but not serving Krishna cannot make one happy. Same point, you see, is being reiterated. Simply you cannot renounce work. You have not realized your relationship with Krishna as his part and parcel, as Krishna's eternal servant. So without realizing this as a part and parcel, as an instrument, an organ of Krishna, you cannot renounce work. Simply, that will not make you happy. Until you know that I am not only a spirit soul, but the spirit soul is part and parcel of Krishna. Until you get that link with Krishna, you cannot become happy. Once you realize, I am simply a part of the whole, so I have to serve the whole, then you will become happy. So this is the point. So not by renouncing you become happy, but by serving the whole, you achieve the supreme quickly. So see this word, what Krishna is using, na chirenadi gacchati, without much time, very quickly you will reach the Supreme Lord. So this is the message. So renouncing work is foolishness. We cannot renounce work. We are not at that stage. We are at the stage where we should perform our duty but offer the fruits to Krishna. In this way we will become purified. So in the 7th shloka, a pure soul working in devotion and having a controlled mind and senses. See, it is the same thing. Working in devotion means you are working for the pleasure of Krishna. That means you are not working for the pleasure of your mind and senses. So this is a pure soul. What is a contaminated soul? Working for the pleasure of mind and senses. But a pure soul is working in devotion. So he has a controlled mind and senses. Because his mind and senses are not controlling him, even though working, he is not entangled. You will become entangled, you are attached to the fruits that you want to enjoy with your mind and senses. But here we are talking about a pure soul. He has no attachment to the fruit, so he is not entangled. So you are entangled not by the work itself, but you are entangled by the attachment to the fruits. So that Krishna is advising, give it up by working in devotion. So such a person is dear to all. He knows Krishna as all, so he acts as a servant of all. You see, so Krishna conscious devotee, when you say he's serving Krishna, he is serving everyone in the world because he sees everybody as a child of Krishna. And he being the servant, he thinks I am the servant of everyone. We saw this mood in Srila Prabhupada always. Whenever he was in the West, he had the humble mood of a servant. He was dealing with hippies, but he was never angry or upset or dissatisfied with them. He was always in the mood of serving them. He thought they are the representatives of my Guru. So, like I serve my Guru, I should serve the representatives of my Guru. That was his amazing mood. So, a pure soul is never entangled. You can see Prabhupada, how busy he was. Prabhupada was buying properties, selling properties. He was registering. He was giving lectures. He was writing books. He was dealing with the printing press. He was dealing with the real estate people. He was dealing with all kinds of people. There were so many legal cases, complications. Prabhupada was fighting on many fronts. But no entanglement because he is doing everything for the pleasure of Krishna. So, Prabhupada's life is the message for us. Apart from the books he has written, just by studying the life of Prabhupada, we can get so much knowledge. And 8 and 9, such a beautiful poetic shlokas we have read. So what is the meaning of that? It says, a Krishna conscious person is pure. His existence is pure. His knowledge senses and working senses. You know the difference between these two? What are the knowledge senses? They gather knowledge for us. Like our eyes get visual information. Ears get auditory information. Nose gets olfactory information. Tongue gets the taste related information. Skin gets touch related tactile information. So these are all knowledge gathering senses. Through this you get knowledge. Then you have the working senses. Our hands, our legs, our reproductory organ, our evacuatory organ. These are all working senses. So Krishna is saying, though this person appears to be active in doing so many activities with his working senses and knowledge senses, But actually they are all engaged in Krishna's service, not in sense pleasures. He is completely aloof from his senses because he is not interested in enjoying them. He is not interested to enjoy them. He is only interested to use them in Krishna's service. So I hope this is clear to all of you. Even though he's busy with all his senses, but he's using the senses as instruments of Krishna. Rishikena, Rishikesa Shevanam Bhakti Ruchyate. This is what Narada Muni says. That means we have to use our senses for the pleasure of the master of the senses. Who is that? Krishna. Rishikesh means he is the master of the senses. So we use our senses to serve the master of the senses, not for our own pleasure. That is when you become completely pure. So here is a small story which is said. The gopis once wanted to meet Durvasa Muni and offer him. The gopis were on this side of Yamuna and Krishna was on the other side of Yamuna. And the gopis wanted to carry a lot of sweets they had prepared. They wanted to offer it to Krishna. But on this side of the river, Durvasa Muni was sitting and the river was in spate. The gopis did not know how to cross. So they went to Durvasa Muni, please help us. So Durvasa Muni said, what do you want? They said, we want to offer all these sweets to Krishna on the other side. Okay, give them to me. So they started giving one by one and Durvasa Muni ate everything. He finished everything. And then he said, okay, now you go to the river and tell the river, if Durvasa Muni is fasting, then you make way for us. And the gopis, they were laughing. How is it possible? But when they went to the river and told like that, Yamuna immediately parted. So the gopis went to the other side and they asked Krishna, how it is possible? So Krishna said, actually, you saw him eating, but actually he was offering everything to me. So it was not him eating. Everything was offered to me completely. So he's totally in fast. So the gopis are surprised. So, okay, so now it was time for them to go back. The river is closed again. So they asked Krishna, please tell us how we can cross. They said, go tell the river, if Krishna is a totally brahmachari, completely unattached, and he is a complete brahmachari, totally separated from any kind of sense gratification, sense pleasures, then you give way for us. Again, the gopis laughed and laughed and laughed. We know what kind of a person you are. You are always thieving. Either you are thieving the gopis or you are stealing butter or you are always busy enjoying and you say you are a brahmachari. But then they went to the river. They said this, the river parted again. And they were so amazed. But we know now that Krishna is a brahmachari because he is completely self-satisfied. He is not in need of anybody to give him happiness. Yes. What he is doing? He is giving happiness to everyone. The way we want. The way we surrender to Krishna, he is giving us reciprocatory happiness. So this is what Krishna is doing. Krishna is not in need of anything. He is not in need of anything. Whether you praise him or scold him makes no difference to him. Whether you hurt him or you serve him makes no difference to him. So externally we think he is enjoying with so many gopis. But he doesn't need. He is totally a brahmachari, aloof from any kind of material pleasures. So this is what I wanted to share here. So it is very much possible that somebody who is working very hard, apparently you will think he is a very attached person, but he may be really very detached. Okay, so 10th shloka we have seen, like a lotus leaf untouched by water, those who perform the duty without attachment, surrendering the fruits to Krishna, they are untouched by sin. So if you surrender the fruits to Krishna, you are doing the duty without attachment, then you are like a lotus leaf. Water will not touch the lotus leaf. You know, lotus leaf is covered by a layer of oily substance, right? So water will never stick to the lotus leaf. So similarly, the oily substance that is covering you is your true knowledge that I am simply a servant of Krishna. That prevents you from becoming attached. So even this material body can be used in Krishna's service. That's what Isavashyam principle. Isavashyamidam sarvam. Everything here belongs to Krishna. So why do you renounce them? You use them in Krishna's service. Okay, let us read from 11 to 15. Kayena manasa buddhya kevalairindrayairapi yogina karma kurvanti sangam tyaktvatma shuddhaye yukta karma phalam tyaktva shanti apnoti naishtikim ayukta kama karena phale sakto nibadhyate sarva karmani manasa sanyasyaste sukham vashi navadhvare pure dehi naiva kurvanna karayanna na kartrutvam na karmani lokasya srijati prabhu na karma phala samyogam subhavastu pravartate nadatte kasyachit papam na chaiva sukritam vibhu ajnanena vritam jnanam tena muhyanti jantavaha. So let us see what these 5 shlokas tell us. The yogis, I have put within brackets bhakta so that you will not be confused. Out of all the yogis, you will read in the next chapter, yoginamapi sarvesham madgatena andaratmana shraddhavan bhajate yomam same yuktatamo mataha. Krishna is telling, out of all the yogis, bhaktas are the greatest yogis. So within bracket I have put bhaktas, I have put the best yogis. So yogis abandoning attachment to the fruits of their work. They act with their body. Act for whom? Act for Krishna, not for themselves. So the bhaktas abandoning attachment, act for Krishna with body, mind and intelligence. What do they get by this? Self-purification. What is self-purification? Remember the rainwater and the gutter. Rainwater has fallen into the gutter. Now it has become polluted. But purification means separating the rainwater from the gutter. Similarly, the soul has fallen into matter. The material pool that is like a gutter. The soul has fallen here. But by serving for Krishna with body, mind and intelligence, without attachment, the soul becomes purified. Soul gets its original nature back, and then it is able to serve Krishna properly. So a steady, devoted soul offers the fruits to Krishna in love, in prema. A steady, devoted soul is doing this work in love, not for self-purification. He is just offering the fruits to Krishna because he loves Krishna. The part loves the whole. There is no wonder. My hand loves me, my legs love me, my liver and kidneys love me because they are all my parts. Similarly, the soul loves Krishna. So, offering the fruits to Krishna in love, then what do you get? Unadulterated peace. This peace will not be interrupted or disrupted. You get continuous, always pervading peace. Unless you get this peace, there is a question of happiness. So a person who is not united with Krishna in love, such a person is greedy for results and he becomes entangled. So once you unite with Krishna in love, you are no longer greedy for results. Until you are not united like that, then you will have greed for results, attachment to the results. It's called kripana. Kripana means a miserly person. Then you become entangled. So 13, 14. Such a person, even though he is appearing to be living in a material body, but by mind he has already renounced all the fruits, so he lives happily. Even though he is in a material body, the soul lives very happily because he has renounced all the fruits. No attachment, no liking, no disliking. So then he is not working, nor he is making others work. You see, such a soul is totally isolated from what is happening outside. He is neither working nor causing work to be done. So this is what, so he lives happily. Only by forgetfulness we are suffering. Please remember, what we call ignorance is simply forgetfulness. We are all souls, that fact cannot be changed, but we have forgotten that fact. We have attached with the body, so there is only forgetfulness. Because of that we suffer. But the soul is actually spiritual and it does not create any activities. Soul has nothing to do with matter, so it does not create activities, nor it is inducing others to act, nor it creates the fruits of action for enjoyment. So this is the complete understanding. So here we see an emperor called Prithu Maharaj. You see on the left hand side the same person sitting on the elephant, and on the right side same person sitting in front of the four Kumaras in a completely renounced mood. So the king, if somebody saw him, they will think, oh, what opulences the king is enjoying. He's so wealthy, so opulent, and he's enjoying so much respect from people. He must be really enjoying it. But actually, he was a servant king. He was only serving his people by serving as a role model for them. Even though he was a pure devotee, but as a king, he discharged the duties of his kingship to set a good example for the people. If you will remember from previous chapters we read, Krishna said, I have nothing to do, but still I am active. And Krishna said, like that, great men should always perform their duties to serve as a role model for others. So he was like that. But then when the moment came, he simply renounced everything. And he is sitting in front of the four Kumaras for pure knowledge. His true nature is always renounced. Whether he is wearing the dress of a king or whether he is wearing the dress of a mendicant, inwardly he is always free. Inwardly he is always renounced to the fruits. So that is why I picked up this picture. So this is the last shloka. Supreme Lord, within bracket Vibhu. Vibhu means greatest of the great, Supreme Lord. He also does not assume anyone's sinful or pious activities. Lord is self-satisfied. Because Lord is Atma Ram, always self-satisfied. He does not assume the sinful or pious activities of anyone. He remains totally detached from what is happening in the material world. So the Supreme Lord is na limpanti. Karma doesn't touch him because he doesn't want to enjoy. Soul, we are also like him. Krishna is spirit. We are also spirit. So by nature, we are also spirit. And we are also full of knowledge. Just like Krishna is full of knowledge. We are also full of knowledge. But what is the problem? Limited power. You remember that question, ocean and the drop of the ocean. That is the difference. So the ocean cannot dry up. But one drop of water can dry up. So we can be covered by ignorance. But Krishna will never be covered by ignorance. And those who meditate on Krishna all the time, they will also not be covered by ignorance. Krishna will not be covered. And those who know Krishna and serve Krishna, they also will not be covered by ignorance. So the simplest way is to know Krishna and to serve Krishna. And then we will never be disturbed by ignorance. We will always be in full knowledge. What is happening? Living entity desires some situations. I want to enjoy certain things. And because of that, the chain of action-reaction starts. Krishna is not wanting anything. So for him, no action-reaction. But we want to, when we look at matter, then we want to enjoy. I am the master of all that I survey. Prabhupada would say like that. I want to be the master of all that I survey. I want to enjoy with my senses this material world. I am the owner. I am the enjoyer. I am the controller. We get this mentality. Because of that, chain of action-reaction starts. You do something, then you have to experience the results of that. Because of that, the true knowledge is covered. The moment you start this action-reaction by desiring something, then your true knowledge gets covered. And what happens? You get a material body. That is embodied soul. You get a body. So whatever the living entity wants, whatever the soul wants, the Lord alone is satisfying. We are incapable. The Lord who is sitting as Paramatma, he is only satisfying. The Lord is allowing us to experience our desires. But you cannot say the Lord is responsible for our actions and reactions. That we are only responsible for that. But by gaining true knowledge, we can also become free, just like Krishna. That's why Krishna said, you remember, Janma karma cha me divyam evam yoveti. Those who know the transcendental nature of my birth and my activities, they will also gain my nature and they will not come back to this world. So you have to understand Krishna, his birth and his activities. By knowing it, you will know, I am also like him. The soul is exactly like Krishna. With this knowledge, you will never fall down into material world again. So with this, we come to the end of today's session. So here you see, it is the Vishnu, Garbhodakasvai Vishnu. From him, all the 14 planetary systems have expanded. So he is pervading everything. Who are we? He is pervading the soul also. He is pervading the whole of matter. He is also pervading the whole of the soul. So the soul is simply his small servant, minute servant, that's all. So here is a summary of whatever you have discussed. Krishna is whole and the soul is part. But Krishna is Vibhu we are Anu. Krishna is always full in knowledge, never entangled by desire for matter, which is his own energy. Matter is only the energy of Krishna. So it is always his servant. But we want to control the energy and we become entangled. Embodied soul is part and parcel of Krishna, also full of knowledge. But due to limited power, we want to enjoy matter and become bound in action-reaction cycle. We become caught in that. So, but only having this knowledge is not enough. Only having the knowledge that I am part and parcel of Krishna is also not enough. We have to work with this knowledge for Krishna's pleasure, renouncing personal enjoyment. We have to work only for the pleasure of Krishna. We have to use our body, we have to use our senses, but only in the service of Krishna. In that way, we regain our eternal position as servant of Krishna. And we will never lose it again. We will go back to Krishna and live there happily. This technique is called work in Krishna consciousness. So with this, we have completed 15 shlokas of this chapter. Remaining 14 shlokas we will take next week. Thank you very much. Let us all, here is an example of, again, King Janaka. Lord Krishna likes to quote his example. King Janaka, he was a fully liberated soul, but he was always busy. You know, Janaka is the father of Sita Devi, Janaki. She is called Janaki because she is the daughter of Janaka. So Janaka is a perfect example of a person working in Krishna consciousness. He is not at all attached to the work, but at the same time, he wants to set the perfect example for his citizens. So he is a role model for all of us. Let us chant the Mahamantra 3 times. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Thank you very much. So you can ask your questions. Any doubts? Are you getting a sense that we are slowly developing on the subject? We are not going randomly here and there. Krishna is so beautifully building up the story in a way that we can accept it, we can digest it, and we can start acting on that. So this is the way the knowledge is being delivered to us. This is the essence of all scriptures. We are spared from reading all the Vedas and Upanishads and Puranas and so many things. Straight away in 700 crisp shlokas, Krishna is conveying this perfect knowledge. So if there are no more questions, then shall I close for the day? Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindubhya evacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Gurudev ki jai. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Dandavat pranams, Prabhuji.
Thank you, Mataji. Dandavat pranam.
Dandavat pranam.